So for this week, our prompt for a discussion board was to discuss whether or not a juvenile should be tried or should be sent to prison should they commit any act of murder. And before I can answer it for myself, I did a little bit of looking up just to expand my knowledge on this. For one, the majority of the things I've seen, it looks like most states require that there be no mandatory sentences with life, as well as you can't have a death sentence for a minor. This being, many of the reasonings I've seen was that it's cruel and unusual punishment for the fact that children's brains are not deemed mature enough to be determined whether they should spend life in there. Another thing that I found was that I guess we should just jump to what I think. In my opinion, I think that time should be spent in regards to the crime committed. Now, there are many instances where people are, even when they're in their 30s, accidents happen. I guess the old saying of shit happens. But when those things happen, I mean, people get sentenced accordingly, or they don't. But when a minor murders someone, or minor does something accidental, a great example was a little while ago, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, a 13-year-old boy stabbed another little girl for no apparent reason. The authorities couldn't find any reasoning as to why he did it. People around him had no idea. They don't understand it, but he stabbed her to death for whatever reason. In that instance, that is a clear sign to me that something is wrong with his brain and the functionality of it, which is a great early warning sign. All serial killers show symptoms of serial or psychopathic tendencies when they're young. I mean, a lot of upbringing is what makes you what you are, environment. So I feel that if in those cases, yes, most kids need to either be not sent to prison, but maybe further watched, more hardcore. Juvenile or juvie is probably the best thing to go, which is where most juveniles are sent to when they do commit an act of murder or things that are in that regard. Though I also think that at a certain age, while you're still not considered mature, most people, like I'm 19, which I'm not a minor anymore, but 16-year-olds, or anyone like right up to 16. When I was 16, I was able to make pretty cognizant decisions, and I understood the meaning of right and wrong. I mean, that's why you are allowed to have your driver's license. That's why you're allowed to do a lot of these things. You get more permissions when you're 16 because that is when you are considered able to do it to a point. But I think that at that point you're cognizant of right and wrong. You understand that, no, I shouldn't just go shoot this person because they did me wrong or anything like that. So to an extent, I think that if a 16-year-old murders someone, or if someone with no known mental issues or mental handicaps, if they do commit an act of murder, they are doing it out of their own cognition. They know that them doing this, it could result in them being in prison for life. Now, I guess it also depends on the brutality or any of the other, many different factors also would be put into determining where they're going. So if someone just murders someone, like that 13-year-old stabbing her for no reason, and not just once, twice, or 3 times, but like I think 14 times, maybe a little bit more, like just over and over and over again, just because. Like that right there is a great warning sign that something is not right. And that since it's such a brutal way of killing someone, there's something not right in them, there's something wrong, and prison is a very safe space for them, as well as being a safe space for the people around them, because who's to say he might not do it again. And if you're doing it at that age, what makes it more acceptable if you're doing it at an older age? I mean, the same could be said about me. Like I said, I'm 19. Technically, men don't mature, according to science, by about 23 or 24. Actually, I think it might be a little older. Look out here, check. Sorry. It says that people normally don't mature, and men don't mature until they're like in their 30s. So, in that being said, like, that makes it sound like that if I murdered someone, that I wouldn't be mature. I wouldn't have understood. But I do. I understand the meaning of right and wrong. So I don't see a distinction between 16 and 19 and not knowing that, and not knowing the difference between right and wrong, you know. So that is my opinion. And obviously I'm probably missing a few things as to why I'm wrong, but that is, I guess, the way things go. Thank you.